this Boros deck tick. So two color decks that are looking to kill the opponent pretty quickly, though Simon's deck is better at that than Adam's is.
Who do you like in this matchup?
I'm going to lean Simon's way. Like, I know his deck's 0 good matchups. Can't beat anybody. I don't know how he's going to win this match, though he wins every match he's played for the past year. His deck is very, very explosive, and the Izzet Phoenix deck, for as consistent as it is, it doesn't have the most removal in the world. It's got Lightning Axes, of course, Copy of Torch the Tower, some Prismari commands there, but those creatures can get out of range of being killed by burn spells, and also the protection spells can kind of thwart that as well. So if Simon has a pretty good draw and is able to leave up some mana to be able to protect his creatures, it's going to be really, really hard for Adam to win.
All right, it's time for our third quarterfinal. I'm going to pass it on over to Ailey and Corey with the call.
Thank you so much, Maria. Ailey Loney alongside Corey Baumeister, ready to put some more players into the semifinals, Corey.
Yep.
And we're in for a pretty explosive match by the sounds of it.
Oh, yeah. Super excited for this one. These players played twice yesterday, so they're very familiar with each other. Adam having the better of it twice in a row, so I think Simon wants some revenge here.
Yeah, let's see if Simon can get a little bit of retribution with his Boros Heroic deck, which has been putting up some numbers this weekend.
Yeah.
Deck that we weren't expecting to see all that much of, but it's looking great in the hands of Mr. Checklist Card.
Yeah, honestly, a deck that I would think kind of struggles against Izzet Phoenix and Rakdos midrange. You know, 2 out of the top 3 decks that we would expect going into this metagame, just with how much removal they have, but Simon has just made it look really good, and it's hard to argue with someone who just top-8'd their 4th pro event in a row. I mean, I've been saying that to myself over and over all day, because it is so incredible. Nobody's ever done it.
No.
Yeah.
Simon Nielsen made history yesterday.
Yeah.
For anyone who saw him make his top 8, he is the first player in Magic's history to make 4 consecutive top 8s in a row.
Yeah. And teammate Nathan Stoyer made 3 here not too long ago.
Yeah.
Luis Scott Vargas has made 3, plenty of other players. But
yeah, Kai Buddha as well.
Yeah, 4 is that magic number that, you know, usually warrants a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
And Simon did it in 1 year.
Absolutely.
All right.
Unbelievable stuff here from Simon Nielsen. As we get things underway here, Adam Edelson kicking things off quite nicely. Lava Axe killing that very tricky to defeat favorite Hoplite if Simon Nielsen had the chance to untap. So first Phoenix in the yard and things looking pretty good here for Adam.
Yeah, and that's what you really got to do in this matchup. See a creature, kill a creature, because if you ever let Simon untap, there's so many ways to protect it with Lauren's Escape, God's Willing, 1 copy of that as well. You just really need to make sure those creatures get off the battlefield right away.
Yeah.
And we even see that consideration from Simon here, as he has the Illuminator Virtuoso, which is the best play on turn 2. But doesn't have the mana open to protect it right now. So if Adam has a piece of removal, we're probably going to see it die.
Yeah, he does. So fingers crossed for Simon Nielsen, but second creature down there, courtesy of Prismari Command, deals 2 damage to the creature, and the second mode, draw discard, or we're making tokens.
Yeah, and definitely not a card we see a lot of in the Phoenix deck. Number 1, it costs 3 mana. You know, you want to cast 3 spells in 1 turn in this Phoenix deck, and that becomes really tough to do with Prismari Command. You can, of course, kind of think of it as a 2 mana spell, as you can get yourself a treasure and then pair it with something there, but here, it's just going to be a kill the Virtuoso. That's step number 1, and then the other mode, you know, largely doesn't matter as much.
Well, in this format, or in this deck specifically, it's actually kind of good if you're able to chuck a couple extra Phoenixes in the graveyard, which you see. The second one there for Adam, you don't often see Prismari Command in this list, so it's a really sweet little piece of tech there for the flex spots. 10th District Legionnaire hits the board now for Simon Nielsen, and it looks like we're going to Homestead Courage up. Good old Maliva.
Yeah, and looks like from a quick glance at Adam's hand, it was blue cards here now. So that seems to be it for removal, unless Adam can find something else. And, you know, that makes a ton of sense to still just kill the creatures whenever you see them and hope that you draw into more removal spells for this 10th District Legionnaire.
So Maliva getting the job done. Turn passes back now to Adam Edelson. And that looks to be a Ledger Shredder, but decides against it. So Where do we go to from here for the American player?
Yeah, the play that Adam would like to do is do the 3 spells, get back both of these Phoenixes. But with Shredder, you're unable to do that. That just very clearly means Adam does not have it all wrapped up. You could go for Consider and try to chain these spells off, but if you brick, then you go Ledger Shredder post-combat, it definitely feels worse.
Yeah. In hand for Simon Nielsen, looks like we've got a Monastery Swift Spear alongside 2 Ancestral Angers. So plenty of rage and anger in a deck for someone so happy and jovial.
Yeah, no kidding. Anger and rage in any Simon deck just feels wrong with how smiley and how singy, how dancey he always is whenever we see him on camera.
He's an absolute joy to watch play this game, so...
Very much is. So Found Treasure Cruise off the Connive or the Consider here. Able to draw 3 cards here, do the best Ancestral Recall impression, leave the Phoenixes, but this is not the 3rd spell, so they're not coming back this turn.
Gonna have to wait till those Phoenixes get to fly here for Adam Edelson. Still looking pretty good. But we do know that Simon Nielsen now without any worry from this side of the battlefield that he could possibly just go off now.
Yep. And the one thing we saw from the last match here with John Emmanuel and Seth, where the Phoenix were coming back and they were really putting up roadblocks against Seth's attack, not so much against Boros Heroic, especially with those Ancestral Rages, God's Willing to get protection through, and just Trample in general to go over Phoenixes. Sometimes the best thing 2 Phoenixes are going to do is just soak up 4 damage and not kill the creature.
Woo.
So, yeah, Arc-Light Phoenixes, I wouldn't be shocked to actually see some get trimmed in this matchup from Adam, where normally I don't think you ever consider taking that card out of the namesake card, you know, Izzet Phoenix here.
Ooh, Simon's doing math. That
Always
could be
scary.
a good sign here for the Dane as Ancestral Anger is in hand times 2 plus a Defiant Strike. So that's 3 extra card draw just off those spells alone.
Yep. So
I think Adam's in danger.
Definitely in danger. So the first Rage is +2 with the 10th District Legionnaire trigger as well. And the second Anger is +3 as they stack. So that's 5 alone. And then I saw a Defiant Strike, which is +2.
Yeah.
That's 7 +4. That's 11 is my quick math. But I don't believe Simon has played a land yet either. So could top deck a land and get to 13.
Yeah.
Unless it's another Ancestral Rage.
There is the Monastery Swift Spear in hand too, so that's going to join the 10th District Legionnaire. So now we're going to have a bunch of fun. There's also the flashback ability of Homestead Courage there, so this is going to be very close.
Yeah, absolutely. The Monastery Swift Spear definitely adds damage, especially if Simon's able to Rage or Defiant Strike into land 4. That's really how his the math is going to get a lot closer here. But either way, I think Simon is just going for a good old consistent, I want to win next turn and get my 10th District Legionnaire out of Lightning Axe range. I think that's what we want to look for here from Simon.
For sure. With the spell in hand, though, can definitely get that done. Ancestral Anger targeting the 10th District Legionnaire, which is now Vigilant.
Yep.
So that's going to be a big old chunk of trample damage coming through. There is a 2/4 to soak up some damage.
Ooh, and there's land 4. That's huge. Because right now, the Swift Spear is only a 3/4. The Shredder can just get in front of that and soak up 3 damage, which would maybe lead to Simon maybe wanting to put 1 extra counter on the Swift Spear to be able to push through damage from the Shredder, because that just nets an additional 4 damage if Shredder would have to chump block here. But as it stands, with being able to Defiant Strike in combat or Anger right now, we either have lethal or the Shredder has to chump block.
Yeah. And we did get the Connive trigger for the Ledger Shredder.
We did, yep.
All right.
But yeah, did it discard that Spire Bluff
It discarded
Canal?
the Spire Bluff, yeah.
So it
doesn't get the counter off of the land.
Okay, yep. But it did already have 4 toughness.
Yes.
Okay, so the Prowess, now the Swift Spear will have 4 power, take down the Shredder.
10th District Legionnaire coming in for a big old chunk of damage.
Yeah, and Adam's taking some amount here.
Some amount, we'll see now.
It doesn't seem to be lethal, though.
10? Was that 10?
Yeah, 6, 7, 8, Defiant Strikes 9, Anger is 10. Yep, that's what I got.
Oh, good grief. This deck is so explosive when it gets going.
Yeah, now the one thing I think that is all land from Adam. want to say I thought I saw Temporal Trespass here in hand earlier, but I do not see it as he fans through the second time here. And yeah,
Jeez,
that's the had
so many
all
lands.
these lands. Yep.
Absolutely flooded there is Adam Edelson, but Simon Nielsen was just, you know, foot on the floor. He was going.
Yep, absolutely. And dice on 5 there. Let's see who is on 5. Looks like Simon.
Yeah.
Yeah, putting 2 on the bottom. And it makes sense. This Boros Heroic deck, as powerful and explosive as it is, it does demand a creature and pump spells. So if you get all pump spells, you have to mulligan. If you get all creatures, you can kind of consider keeping that and hoping to draw some things, but you can't be going land go until turn 3 where you top deck the Swift Spear and be like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, so I see the favorite Hoplite in hand there. And, you know, multiple creatures is preferable because we know that Adam Edelson is running cheap removal for these creatures. So if he's able to take care of that and just leave Simon Nielsen stranded with pump spells in hand, he can easily win this game, just as easily as Simon did in game 1.
Yep, absolutely. Getting multiple threats on the battlefield against a deck like Izzet Phoenix, especially before any possible sweepers come in. There is only one Anger of the God in Adam's sideboard, but you really just can go as wide as you want and just hope Adam doesn't have enough removal spells.
Yeah. So just a reminder to everyone, this is best 3 out of 5. The first 2 games, no sideboarding. In game number 3, the players will get to bring in cards from their sideboard. So it's very much a case of try and do your thing and get to game 3 at 2 games, or 1 game apiece, excuse me.
Yep, exactly. The nightmare scenario for either of these players are having to win all 3 of the post-board sideboard games. So you really want to give yourself the opportunity to be going in tied here. Going into sideboarding.
So Free the Fae. Doing some work here now for Adam Edelson. Deciding between a Lightning Axe or a Torch the Tower. 2 lands milled as well.
And normally that's a pretty easy decision. It's just, do I have Arclight Phoenix in hand? If yes, take Lightning Axe. But in this scenario, the Hoplite can just get so large and outclass Torch the Tower so quickly that sometimes you just need the Axe. But at other times, you can't afford to discard one of your cards from Adam's hand. So a lot to think about. And as I look, I think we already have a Lightning Axe in hand plus a Phoenix at my quick glance from Adam's hand. So getting a second Axe here could just leave you pretty low on cards if you have to discard 2 to cast it.
Yeah, it's such a tricky spot to be in too, because if Simon Nielsen untaps with 2 mana and he's got 2 spells, if Adam doesn't have 2 answers for it as well, then that thing just gives itself protection from damage in the turn anyway, just being targeted.
Exactly. It's kind of a scenario of who blinks first usually is the one who regrets it against Boros Heroic. Unless you have a second one ready here. So we're going to see this. Simon will now have the choice, do I want to protect it? But then it's pretty face up that Adam has another removal spell here ready to go.
Well, let's see. Monstrous Rage on the stack. There's the second Lightning Axe, so that will resolve. And wow, ooh, 2 birds.
Wow.
Oh,
what a swing here.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think there was 1 axe going into Adam's turn, and Adam either opted into it or drew it for the draw step. That makes it a lot easier to waste, quote-unquote, 4 cards to get rid of 1 creature.
Oh,
nice swing from Adam.
An advantage bar would have shot directly through the bottom of the screen there towards Adam Edelson. That is unbelievable stuff indeed, but it's not live yet. Simon Nielsen follows up with an Illuminator Virtuoso, targeting it with Homeward Courage.
Now,
and, getting the Connive triggered too.
Now Simon's at the spot where it's you're just going to see him tap out. It's like there's nothing he can do to play around, play coy, leave mana open to bluff on something. With a mulligan to 5, Simon's just going to be like, here are my cards. This is what I have. And can Simon win next turn? Because he absolutely has to. Otherwise, these Phoenixes are a 2-turn clock.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, there's not that much in the way of removal in this deck. It's kind of like, I'm going to do my thing, you do yours. Let's see what happens. Galvanic Iteration. What are we copying?
How about 6 cards?
Oh, yeah, sure. That's pretty cool there, Corey. Oh, boy.
Wow. Okay.
Treasure Cruise, copied.
That is really impressive Because Adam played the Otawara for turn. Otawara already would have won this game if there was a fourth land in another way, but it looks like there was not. So instead, you have to settle for your second best of draw 6 Magic cards.
Second best?
Yeah, exactly. It was the second best play. Imagine if Nathan Stoyer's card was in play here after we just drew 6 cards.
That's a pretty cool card.
Attack for 6. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're going to see it in Outlaws of Thunder Junctions. That's something to look forward to. But first things first, let's crown a Pro Tour champion this weekend, shall we? Yeah. Could be looking at one of them right here. Pigeons getting in. Simon Nielsen down to 6, needs to do something amazing here.
So one thing, if Adam had a removal spell, a Fiery Impulse, anything like that, he would have snap cast it. So if I'm Simon, I would think the exact same thing. Simon can go for it here, and I would assume that there is no red removal spell for this card. The only thing I would be playing around if I was Simon is a Spell Pierce, and kind of playing around it. You know, Simon does not have the luxury of really playing around anything, so this easily could still be Simon's game.
Yeah, you can't be shy. You just kind of have to go, you know? Be a hero.
Yeah, otherwise the Phoenixes are just going to kill you. That being said, okay, that's a Bushwhacker in hand and another Ancestral Anger, yeah.
So what, he needs to get this to 8?
Okay, not a Bushwhacker, it's a Reckless Rage, so that actually can buy him another turn.
So what's it at 3 at the moment? So if we get Connive triggers twice off things, it'll be at 5, but then we need the buffs to be bigger than just 1.
So right now the Connive is on the stack. You could discard the Reckless Rage. That puts it up to 4 power. Rage puts it up to 5. Second Anger puts it up to 6, 7, and then the Connive could put it up to 8 if you top deck a spell. But either way, I mean, I guess you need it. If you get a spell and Simon goes for that line, he just has an 8 power double striker for lethal here.
That's where we need to get to here. So gonna have to hope the top of the library plays nicely here for Simon Nielsen, and he can't discard a land. It has to be a spell.
And Adam to not have a Spell Pierce.
Yes,
that
too.
There
is one. Okay.
He has it.
All right.
So he's considering Spell Piercing this. And I think that effectively works the same. Maybe worse because, now this Rage actually does more.
Nice.
But might have needed that to be a spell. So is this a Defiant Strike? I guess there's still the Courage in the graveyard as well.
Yeah, Homestead Courage is still in there, so he can recast that. There's 2 Angers in the bin, so that'll be, what, 3 extra power?
6, 7. This is 7. He needs a spell. If he gets a spell to discard, he's got it.
Does he?
Yes, I think so. Because that's 5. It has +2, so that's 6, 7, 8. That's 16 damage. Exactsies. Oh, me, oh, my. On a mulligan to 5.
Simon freaking Nielsen.
Wow. Incredible.
How does he do it?
I will say, I think if that Spell Pierce would have waited for the second Anger, Adam would have won that game.
I think so too,
because you countered the least impactful card with the first Spell Pierce. The second one just did 2 extra damage. So I think Adam could have won that game with a little more patience, which has got to be a slightly frustrating in that situation. I get the play. I respect the play. But I think if he waited, he would have had it.
You never expect the second Anger, huh? Wowza. Alrighty, kicking things off here with the Monastery Swift Spear in for 1 point of damage. So Simon getting first blood here. This is now the post-board game. Game number 3, Adam Edelson is in a pickle. You know, there's no better way to put it. Definitely on the back foot and needs to rattle off 3 wins here to continue in this Pro Tour.
Yep, absolutely. And some sideboarding here from the players. Simon brought in 1 Reckless Rage, 2 Rending Volleys to deal with other creatures, took out Illuminator Virtuoso, and 2 Ancestral Angers, even though they just won the game for them. And then Adam brought in 2 Angers, 2 Young Pyromancers, a Gust and a Negate, and took out Prismari Command, being a little expensive, Dwari Disruption, Sleight of Hand, Galvanic Iteration, and the 1 of Temporal Trespass.
Simon Nielsen is not pumping the brakes at all. 2 Monastery Swift Spears down. The Young Pyromans are taken care of, so no extra blockers in the way here for Adam Edelson. He might just be getting run over.
Yeah. Anger is the big card to want here for Adam.
Can he find Anger of the Gods? Oh, Devlin, go.
Yeah, and now the thing, that was kind of, you know, turn 3 here. That was where Simon was holding his breath. Be like, well, if you have it, you 2-for-1 me.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of opportunity to 2-for-1 this Boros Heroics deck with sweepers that don't, you know, say Supreme Verdict. So that was really the turn. Simon could protect his creatures from Anger next turn.
Defiant Strike, targeting the first. Ooh, Monstrous Rage.
I mean, we might just be done here.
Yeah, we may well be.
Monstrous Rage is 5 points per spell. Courage is 3. So that's 8. Defiant Strike is 3 as well, so 6.
Homestead
11,
Courage.
12, 13. I count 13.
Yeah, I think
count
he's just got it.
13.
Good grief. I'm flabbergasted. Simon Nielsen. 3 spells cost, so that's just 6 extra damage across them without anything else.
Xaxes 2 games in a row. Thank you very much, Simon Nielsen.
13.
I don't know what to say. That's just
He can't be stopped.
unbelievable. He cannot be stopped.
He can't be contained.
Whoever is facing him in the semifinals, good luck to you, sir. Simon Nielsen making it look incredibly easy.
Wow. You know, Simon lost a close 3-game set with Boros Heroic against Phoenix and against him yesterday, as well as lost a very close 3 games in Limited, which we cast that match. And it looked like Simon was like, well, you are not beating me 3 times in one tournament. Absolutely not. Clean 3-0. Looked really impressive all 3 games, and wow, you just can't cut out Simon Nielsen or the deck that Team Handshake brings, even if it's Boros Heroic, something that a lot of players didn't even consider. Didn't even consider, yeah.
Don't worry about that. Well, let's go and hear from Simon Nielsen right now. He's with Riley.
Simon Nielsen victorious in the quarterfinals. Now, Simon, you opened up this weekend in an interview with me saying that your deck had basically no good matchups. You said it was bad against most of the fields, and here we are. So what have you got to say for yourself?
I mean, I stand by it. Actually, so like yesterday in my match against Logan, I rewatched the match and saw that Twitch chat was bullying my deck choice. And I'm like, you know, like, I'm so taken aback that I really just wanted to show them what's up. So yeah, I decided to like win with this deck that has no good matchups.
Very brave to go after Twitch chat in that way. But more seriously, your deck has done extremely well. How are you feeling about a potential pathway that you have towards the final now that you've won the quarters?
Yeah, so in the semis, I'm going to have a good matchup no matter what, because there are actually good matchups. I believe both Amalia and Lotus are good matchups. So like that's something I'm looking forward to. And then we'll see in the finals. I'm hoping that none of the Rakdos Vampires guys break through, because they're like great players, and I haven't played the matchup before. So maybe the Lotus Field player, Min Yang, will get it to the finals, and that would be incredible for me, like that, because that's the matchup that you really, really want with Heroic.
Well, Simon, you've made history this weekend with your 4th back-to-back top 8. Congratulations on that, and the very best of luck to you for the rest of the top 8, mate.
Thank you.
After the break, we have one more quarterfinal to go. It is Alex Friedrichsen versus Christopher Larson.